That low, steady hum, almost like a giant, slumbering insect, is the sound of an advanced imaging technology scanner, a familiar prelude to air travel in the 21st century. It was October 14, 2026, at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport in the bustling Terminal 4 checkpoint. Ryan Miller, a tech consultant in his early 30s, approached one of these machines, his smartphone held aloft, a confident smile playing on his lips. His digital identification, integrated perfectly into his Apple Wallet, glowed brightly on the screen. He genuinely believed this enhanced driver's license, or EDL, displayed on his phone, was all he needed for his domestic flight to Denver. He was, after all, enrolled in TSA PreCheck. Many travelers still confuse expedited screening with an exemption from primary identity verification protocols, and that, right there, is where the trouble often begins. Then came the crisp flack of TSA Officer Jenkins' hand on the counter, a sound that cut through the low hum and the general murmur of the checkpoint like a sharp blade. Her expression, I assure you, was as unyielding as the granite counter itself. "Physical identification, sir," she stated, her voice even, devoid of any discernible inflection. "This airport strictly requires a physical, enhanced driver's license or valid passport for primary identity verification, even with TSA PreCheck enrollment. This policy update, originally issued on May 7, 2025, has been fully enforced since early 2026. Ryan's confident smile, the very one that had been there moments before, simply evaporated, replaced by a flicker of disbelief. He stood there, holding his advanced piece of technology, now rendered utterly useless. I see this scenario play out more often than I care to admit. Travelers, savvy in so many ways, fall prey to what I call the digital convenience trap. Ryan, like many, had likely seen a quick video or read a fleeting social media post, a TikTok hack, as they call them, claiming that digital IDs were universally accepted. He believed it, hook, line, and sinker. The problem, as always, lies in the fine print, in the jurisdictional nuances, and in the dynamic nature of aviation security policy. While some airports and airlines are indeed experimenting with digital ID solutions under specific pilot programs, the universal, legally binding standard for primary identity verification at a TSA checkpoint in 2026 remains a physical, government-issued document, an enhanced driver's license, or a valid United States passport. Digital representations, no matter how authentic they appear, are often insufficient without the physical counterpart. Ryan began to scramble. I could almost feel his rising panic from my vantage point, an invisible observer to his unfolding dilemma. He searched his pockets, then patted his carry-on bag, a growing desperation in his movements. His physical wallet, he then remembered, was safely tucked away in his checked baggage, now undoubtedly making its way to the belly of a Swiftwings Airlines aircraft, bound for a city he wouldn't be on. The Passenger Service System, or PSS, an essential component of airline operations, clearly showed his flight was scheduled to begin boarding in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. That's hardly enough time to resolve a lost or forgotten ID, much less retrieve one from a checked bag already processed for departure. The situation escalated quickly as Ryan, defeated at the security checkpoint, rushed toward his gate, hoping for a miracle. He approached gate agent Brenda, a seasoned professional whose expression, though regretful, was as firm as Officer Jenkins had been. "I'm sorry, Mr. Miller," she explained, her gaze flicking between her monitor and the clock on the wall. "But due to missed boarding window and incomplete identity verification, we cannot grant you access to this flight." She pointed to a small, laminated sign, clearly stating the airline's policy. The rule is simple. If you cannot clear the security checkpoint due to invalid identification, you cannot board the aircraft. It's a non-negotiable step in the chain of trust that makes air travel possible. The functional beep 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 of the boarding gate scanner, now accepting other passengers, served as a stark, rhythmic reminder of his costly oversight, a steady beat counting down his professional embarrassment and the financial hit he was about to take. What seemed to Ryan like a minor procedural change, or a mere inconvenience, became a concrete, unyielding barrier. Digital convenience, in this instance, had completely obscured analog vulnerabilities. He was left standing there, watching his opportunity to make that important business meeting in Denver simply fly away. Here's the thing I want you to understand. Security protocols aren't arbitrary. They are meticulously designed, often after significant incidents, to ensure the integrity of the aviation system. Relying on unverified hacks or assuming blanket acceptance of new technologies without due diligence is, frankly, irresponsible. The system works when every link in the chain is robust. Your identity verification is one of those critical links. So, what should Ryan have done? It's not complex. First, always confirm specific airport and airline policies regarding digital identification before you travel. These can vary significantly, even within the same country. Second, never check your physical primary identification document. Your driver's license, your passport, those belong in your carry-on, readily accessible. Third, understand that TSA PreCheck streamlines the screening process, but it doesn't change the fundamental requirement for valid identification. The system knows who you are, but you still have to prove it with an accepted document. Those who prepare, who understand the rules, and who respect the established protocols, they are the ones who sail smoothly through the process. They avoid the frustration, the missed flights, and the unnecessary expenses. Take the extra 5 minutes to verify, to double-check, and to pack correctly. It's a small investment for peace of mind, and it ensures your journey is one of smooth transitions, not unexpected roadblocks. That soft click, the crisp, decisive sound of a gate agent's pen validating a boarding pass. For some, it's the quiet overture to a smooth journey. For others, it's the thunderclap heralding a very public, very expensive, and utterly avoidable headache. Believe me, I have seen enough of both outcomes to tell you which path you want to be on. The truth is, that choice is almost always yours to make. Consider Sarah Johnson, a 38-year-old mother of 2, flying out of Orlando International Airport, MCO, as we in the industry call it, on Swiftwings Airlines. The date was July 2nd, 2026. Swiftwings, you see, is renowned, or perhaps infamous, for its unyielding baggage enforcement. We're talking about an airline that has perfected the art of the ancillary fee, particularly when it comes to carry-on dimensions and weight. Their Baggage Dimension Management System, or BDMS, isn't just a suggestion. It's a meticulously calibrated digital guardian, poised to flag anything even slightly out of bounds. Now, most passengers glance at an airline's website, maybe skim one or two bullet points, and think, my bag looks about right. That's precisely where the trouble begins. They often miss the critical specifics. A 22 by 14 by 9-inch limit for carry-ons, for example, and a strict 20-pound weight restriction. People will try to rationalize a bag that's 1 inch too long or 3 pounds too heavy, thinking, what's the worst that could happen? What could happen, my friends, is a $75 penalty per bag, right there at the gate, paid on the spot. Or your bag gets checked, likely delaying your entire boarding process and creating a cascade of frustration. Imagine multiplying that by 3 or 4 bags. The cost quickly escalates, transforming a budget flight into an unexpectedly pricey affair. This isn't solely about revenue. It's about managing aircraft weight and balance, ensuring every millimeter of cabin space is utilized efficiently, and, yes, leveraging those moments of passenger unpreparedness. But Sarah was different. She viewed the potential problem not as an insurmountable obstacle, but as a challenge to be understood and mastered. Weeks before their flight, she meticulously researched Swiftwing's BDMS specifications. She knew those gate-side measuring bins were engineered to exact tolerances. 22 by 14 by 9 inches, no tolerance, no wiggle room, no close enough. So what did she do? She didn't just guess. She acquired a dedicated luggage scale and a tape measure. Every one of her family's 3 carry-on bags, for herself, her daughter Emily, and her son Alex, was weighed precisely to 20 pounds on her home scale. Then, she measured each bag, ensuring they fit within those stringent dimensions. This wasn't guesswork. This was scientific preparation. She even turned it into a game for Emily and Alex, explaining the baggage game and how anything over a fraction of 1 inch or a single pound could lead to a $75 penalty. She taught them about the infamous 311 liquid security mandate, packing a clear, quart-sized bag with all their liquids and gels. It felt like a small detail at home, perhaps even tedious, but it removed yet another potential friction point at the security checkpoint and again at the gate if any questions arose. When they arrived at gate F-17, the scene unfolded exactly as she had anticipated. Gate Agent David, a man whose expression usually conveyed the weary resignation of someone who has witnessed every imaginable passenger blunder, stood ready. Most folks approach that measuring bin with a hopeful, slightly fearful push. Their bags often snag, bulge, or simply refuse to enter, prompting that familiar sinking feeling and the inevitable reach for the credit card. But Sarah, calm and collected, watched as Emily and Alex, understanding the stakes, slid their bags effortlessly into the gate-side sizer. Then it was her turn. Her bag, perfectly packed, followed suit without a hitch. The soft whir of the automated gate opening for them felt less like a simple mechanical action and more like a reward for their diligence. Agent David, for his part, offered a rare, approving smile. "Perfect fit, ma'am," he remarked, a genuine warmth in his voice. "You'd be surprised how many think close enough works. Most folks end up paying for that extra inch or two." He was acknowledging not just compliance, but genuine preparation. This wasn't luck. This was the direct result of understanding the system. Swiftwing's Automated Weight Load Cell, or WLC, and their BDMS are integral to their operational model. They streamline the process for those who comply, but they act as an unforgiving barrier for those who don't. Sarah's meticulous preparation had saved her family $225 in potential gate check fees and, more importantly, countless minutes of frantic repacking and the sheer, soul-draining stress of dealing with an unexpected problem right before boarding. It was a testament to a fundamental truth of air travel. Understanding the system's exact tolerances means a seamless journey, not a costly gamble. So, how do you achieve this kind of smooth sailing, this peace of mind, this avoidance of the hidden fee trap? It's not rocket science, but it does require commitment. It requires choosing preparation over blind hope. Here's your roadmap to a hassle-free flight. 1. Read the fine print. Don't just skim. Locate your airline's specific carry-on baggage policy. Look for exact dimensions in inches, not just vague descriptions, and precise weight limits in pounds. These details are typically found in the baggage or FAQs section of their official website. 2. Invest in accuracy. Purchase a reliable luggage scale and a tape measure. You might be surprised how different your bag's actual weight is from your perception. Knowledge here is power. 3. Practice makes perfect. Before you even leave your home, test your packed carry-on in a measuring bin, if you have access to one, or use a cardboard cutout. If not, measure your bag carefully and ensure it's not bulging. Overpacking often adds both dimension and weight, pushing you into fee territory. 4. Strategic packing. Consider packing a lightweight, collapsible tote bag within your carry-on. If you encounter an unexpected gate agent or realize your bag is slightly over, you can quickly transfer a few items to the tote to alleviate the issue instead of discarding them. 5. Master the 3-1-1 rule. Always separate your liquids, aerosols, and gels into a single clear quart-sized bag. Each container must be 3.4 ounces or less. This isn't just for security screening. It prevents any last-minute repacking at the gate. 6. Budget for the unexpected, or prevent it. Understand that many low-cost carriers rely heavily on these fees. If you choose to fly with them, accept their terms, or prepare rigorously to avoid the extra charges. Sarah's approach is the ultimate form of budgeting, preventing the fees entirely. 7. Give yourself time. Rushing leads to mistakes. Allow ample time at the airport to address any unforeseen baggage issues without the added pressure of a looming boarding time. A relaxed passenger is a compliant passenger. Those who prepare, who understand the rules, and who respect the established protocols, they are the ones who sail smoothly through the process. They avoid the frustration, the missed flights, and the unnecessary expenses. Take the extra 5 minutes to verify, to double-check, and to pack correctly. It's a small investment for profound peace of mind, and it ensures your journey is one of smooth transitions, not unexpected roadblocks. The digital clock above the Schengen Area Biometric Entry System, or SABES kiosk, at Amsterdam's Schiphol Airport, AMS as it's often called, blinked 7:35 in the morning on April 13, 2026. For Eleanor Davis, a spry 66, and her husband George, 68, retirees from Iowa, that seemingly innocuous flicker ignited the first spark of an inferno. A creeping dread began to coil in their stomachs, tightening with each passing second, because their connecting flight to Rome, their dream Italian getaway, was set to depart in exactly 28 minutes. 28 minutes. A time frame that, just a few years prior, might have felt ample for a quick passport stamp, now loomed as an impossible chasm. They had approached the sleek, modern Sabes kiosk with a casual confidence, much like millions of other American travelers. George, ever the pragmatist, slid his passport into the reader. Eleanor followed suit. But instead of the familiar green light and a cheerful, "Welcome to the Schengen area," the screen glowed an ominous red, displaying the message, "Authorization pending." A high-pitched, almost imperceptible electronic tone, a subtle buzz of mechanical disquiet, emanated from the unit. A sound that, in retrospect, felt like a silent alarm. That was the moment their carefully laid plans began to unravel. "Did you apply for the European Travel Information and Authorization Scheme pre-approval?" Officer Vandermeer asked, her tone polite, almost empathetic, yet unmistakably firm. She gestured toward a nearby digital display board titled Information on ETIAS, its blue and white graphics contrasting sharply with the red error message. Eleanor and George exchanged a baffled look, confusion clouding their faces. "ETIAS?" George mumbled. "We have our Electronic System for Travel Authorization, our ESTA. That covers European entry, doesn't it?" It's a common misconception, one I've seen countless times, but one that was now critically outdated. The officer patiently, with the practiced efficiency of someone who had repeated this explanation hundreds of times that week, detailed the new reality. The ETIAS, fully operational since April 10, 2026, was no longer an option. It was mandatory for non-European Union travelers entering the Schengen zone. Their ESTA, while essential for travel to the United States, held no sway in Europe. The ETIAS validation process, she explained, was intrinsically linked to the powerful Schengen Information System, or SIS-2, a vast database sharing alerts on individuals, properties, and even travel documents across 27 European countries. This system requires up to 72 hours, or 3 full days, for approval. Eleanor and George, having planned a quick 28-minute dash between gates, had bypassed a crucial, multi-day digital engagement step. They simply didn't know. Their faces, now scanned and cross-referenced by the biometric system, triggered an immediate flag, not for anything nefarious, but for a systemic procedural oversight. The automated system, designed for speed and efficiency, had done its job. It had identified a traveler without the necessary pre-authorization. The subsequent manual processing, which included a mandatory interview to ascertain their travel intentions and verify their identities against international watch lists, consumed precious time. Every minute felt like an hour. Each question, each document review, added to the growing knot of anxiety in their chests. I've witnessed that crushing frustration countless times. The sheer volume of data flowing through the EES, the entry-exit system, combined with the stringent ETIAS checks, meant that any deviation from protocol resulted in a significant delay. Then, piercing through the low hum of the terminal and the distant murmur of other passengers, came the dreaded sound. The final, distant boarding announcement for their Rome flight, amplified through the terminal's public address system. The voice was clear, crisp, and utterly unforgiving. It solidified their fate. They watched, helpless, as their window of opportunity slammed shut. They were now stranded in Amsterdam, facing a rebooking fee of $500, a cost not covered by their initial ticket, and an unexpected, unplanned overnight stay. Their carefully calculated 28-minute layover, once generous for what they believed would be simple passport checks, was now catastrophically insufficient for the intricate new SABES and ETIAS protocols. This situation, though frustrating for Eleanor and George, highlights a critical shift in international air travel. It's not about malicious intent. It's about a lack of precise, up-to-date information. They assumed their prior travel experience and their ESTA would suffice. A dangerously common assumption. But the world of aviation security is dynamic. It evolves with new threats and new technological solutions. So, what should Eleanor and George, and by extension all of us, have done differently? First, always verify entry requirements for every country in your itinerary, including transit points. Don't assume. Check official government websites, not just social media groups or travel blogs. Would you drive cross-country without checking traffic laws in each state? Of course not. Treat international air travel with the same diligence. Second, understand the distinction between national authorizations and regional agreements. An ESTA is for the United States. ETIAS is for the Schengen area. These systems are not interchangeable. Each region has its own sovereign right to control its borders and requires specific documentation. Third, allow significantly more layover time for international transfers, especially into or out of major travel zones like Schengen. For any international connection involving biometric checks, immigration, or customs, I recommend a minimum of 3 hours, even for experienced travelers. Why tempt fate with 28 minutes when a 6-hour buffer buys you peace of mind? Fourth, engage with pre-authorization systems well in advance. The up to 72 hours for ETIAS isn't a suggestion, it's a procedural reality. Submit your application at least 1 week, if not 2, before your departure date. This provides ample time for processing and for you to address any unexpected issues or requests for additional information. And finally, consider travel insurance that covers unforeseen delays and rebooking fees. While prevention is key, the unexpected can still happen. Good insurance can soften the financial blow, turning a disaster into a mere inconvenience. The future of European travel, and indeed much of international aviation, demands preemptive digital engagement. It requires us to move beyond old assumptions and embrace the new realities of biometric screening and layered security. Those who prepare, who understand the rules, and who respect the established protocols, they are the ones who sail smoothly through the process. They avoid the frustration, the missed flights, and the unnecessary expenses. Take the extra 5 minutes to verify, to double-check, and to pre-authorize. It's a small investment for peace of mind, and it ensures your journey is one of smooth transitions, not unexpected roadblocks. I have witnessed it countless times. A traveler steps off a long-haul flight, eyes glazed, already mentally navigating the maze of international arrivals. The air in Los Angeles, even on a balmy September 25, 2026, can feel heavy with the weight of impending transit. For most, a 90-minute connection at Los Angeles International Airport, or LAX, to a domestic flight, say to Seattle, would be nothing short of a high-stakes gamble. The average passenger, relying on standard processing lanes, is looking at a guaranteed missed flight, a night in a cramped airport hotel, and a cascade of rebooking headaches. This isn't just about making a flight. It is about controlling your destiny in a system designed to manage millions. Consider Michael Chen, a sharp international sales executive, 43 years old, who landed at LAX that afternoon. His face held no trace of the typical arrival anxiety. Why? Because Michael isn't most. He understands the subtle, often overlooked architecture of modern air travel. He isn't just a passenger. He's an architect of his own itinerary, a strategic planner who refuses to let chance dictate his schedule. His 90-minute window wasn't a challenge. It was a meticulously executed maneuver. From my vantage point, his purposeful strides conveyed utter confidence. The moment he disembarked, bypassing the long, serpentine lines of international arrivals, Michael made a beeline for the Trusted Traveler Program, or TTP, Global Entry kiosks. This wasn't a gamble. It was an investment. His fingerprints, already embedded in the system's memory banks, brought up his profile instantly. The soft, authoritative ping from the global entry screen confirmed his identity in a matter of seconds. Compare that to the 30 or 40 minutes, sometimes even longer, a standard line might demand. This initial step alone, leveraging the advanced biometric data he'd provided months ago, shaved a significant chunk of time from his transit budget. It's an initial investment, yes, both in time for the interview and in a fee that lasts for 5 years. But the return on investment in peace of mind, in predictable travel, is simply immeasurable. From there, it was straight to the Automated Passport Lane, or APL, system. This wasn't a separate, redundant step. It was a layered enhancement to the primary customs clearance, further streamlining his immigration process. The APL system quickly cross-referenced his entry with his flight details, verifying his manifest information against his already cleared global entry status. It's like having an express lane inside an express lane, designed for exactly these scenarios: the business traveler, the frequent international commuter who needs efficiency above all else. This sequential verification process is critical. It's not about skipping steps, it's about optimizing each one with pre-verified data. Next came the critical domestic leg of his journey, the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA, checkpoint for his Seattle flight. Again, Michael didn't hesitate. He presented his TTP Clear Plus card. This isn't just about avoiding a queue. It's about completely redefining the security experience. With Clear Plus, his biometric data, fingerprints and iris scans, was verified at a dedicated pod, bypassing the identity document check and line altogether. He stepped directly into the TSA PreCheck lane, which he also possessed. This stacking of programs is where the real genius lies. TSA PreCheck allows travelers to keep on shoes, belts, light jackets, and to leave laptops and compliant liquids in their bags. The Advanced Imaging Technology, or AIT scanner, whirred for mere seconds, analyzing his form without requiring the standard removal of items from his person. The entire process, from entry to exit through security, took perhaps 3 minutes. 3 minutes! Most travelers spend that long just waiting to take off their shoes. Do you grasp the difference this makes? It's not magic. It's the result of systems designed with foresight and individuals who choose to engage with them proactively. We're talking about an ecosystem of expedited services: Global Entry for customs, Clear Plus for identity verification, and TSA PreCheck for physical screening. Each one on its own is a powerful tool. Combined, they create an almost seamless flow through the traditionally most cumbersome points of airport transit. Finally, at his connecting gate, the last hurdle also evaporated. No fumbling for boarding passes, no scanning of phones. The Biometric Boarding Validation, or BBV, terminal, a modern marvel becoming increasingly common in major hubs like LAX, recognized his face instantly. A green light flashed, a soft chime sounded, and Michael simply walked onto the aircraft. Seamless entry, no delays, no frantic searches for QR codes on a dim phone screen. Customs Officer Riley, observing the swift process from his post nearby, simply remarked aloud, "Mr. Chen, a prime example of leveraging the system." That's the difference. Michael's strategic use of global entry, Clear Plus, and TSA PreCheck, combined with his flight's arrival at a terminal equipped with BBV terminals, shaved off an estimated 20 to 40 minutes from what would have been his typical international to domestic transfer time. Think about what that means. That's the difference between making a critical business meeting or missing it. It's the difference between calm and chaos. Here's the practical takeaway. A non-negotiable checklist for anyone serious about mastering air travel. 1. Enroll in global entry. This is your golden ticket for international arrivals. It covers customs and automatically includes TSA PreCheck. The application process involves an interview, but it's well worth the initial effort. 2. Consider Clear Plus. For an additional layer of speed at security checkpoints, especially in larger airports, Clear Plus utilizes biometrics to verify your identity instantly, allowing you to bypass the initial identification check line entirely. 3. Check for Biometric Boarding Validation, or BBV, terminals. When booking, especially for tight connections, research if your connecting airports and terminals are equipped with facial recognition boarding. This small detail can make a massive difference. 4. Confirm terminal layout and inter-terminal transport. Understand the physical layout of your connection. Michael's success also hinged on knowing his arrival and departure terminals at LAX, and that no lengthy bus or train transfers were required between them. 5. Always allocate a buffer. Even with all these systems in place, life happens. A buffer of at least 2.5 to 3 hours for an international to domestic transfer is prudent, even if you anticipate a faster transit. Michael's 90 minutes was possible because of his preparation, but it was still tight. The future of air travel, and indeed much of international aviation, demands this kind of preemptive digital engagement. It requires us to move beyond old assumptions and embrace the new realities of biometric screening and layered security. Those who prepare, who understand the rules, and who respect the established protocols, they are the ones who sail smoothly through the process. They avoid the frustration, the missed flights, and the unnecessary expenses. Take the extra 5 minutes to verify, to double-check, and to pre-authorize. It's a small investment for peace of mind, and it ensures your journey is one of smooth transitions, not unexpected roadblocks. The power is in your hands to transform potential chaos into predictable efficiency. Why wouldn't you seize that? I've seen it play out countless times, that familiar tight knot of panic and frustration forming right in the gut. Passengers, faced with the cold, hard reality of an airline delay, suddenly discover that their non-refundable ticket is just that, non-refundable. But here's the kicker, the part most folks miss entirely. Non-refundable doesn't always mean non-refundable. It's a linguistic trap, a subtle, almost invisible tripwire set by the industry, and it ensnares thousands every single day. Let me tell you about Laura Peterson. Her story is a textbook example of falling into that very snare. It was November 3rd, 2026. A date etched in my mind because it marked a quiet shift in how many airlines were navigating the updated Federal Airline Consumer Protections Act. Laura, a dynamic 29-year-old event planner, found herself under the harsh, unwavering glow of the fluorescent lights in Chicago O'Hare International Airport's Terminal 1. Her Horizon Air flight, destined for New York, had been pushed back, not by 20 minutes, not by an hour, but by a full 5 hours. The automated announcements chirped about operational adjustments, a phrase so vague it might as well have been magic pixie dust. Laura was already critically late for a client meeting that could make or break her quarter. Exasperation radiating from her like heat from an engine exhaust, she approached Daniel, the Horizon Air customer service representative. Her voice, strained with urgency, likely held a noticeable tremor as she recounted her plight, demanding a full refund. "My flight is practically canceled," she'd insisted, a perfectly understandable sentiment given the circumstances. But Daniel, whose gaze was fixed on the green and black data stream scrolling across his passenger service system, or PSS terminal, shook his head regretfully. "Madam," he explained, his tone a practiced blend of empathy and corporate policy, "your fare class, Economy Basic, is explicitly non-refundable. Our airline reservation system, or ARS, shows the flight is still operational, albeit delayed." That subtle k of Daniel's keyboard as he finished processing another passenger's request must have sounded to Laura like the final nail in the coffin of her hopes. Now, this is where the real lesson unfolds, where the invisible threads of regulation and corporate policy intertwine into a knot that few unravel. Laura was utterly unaware that under the newly updated Federal Airline Consumer Protections, or FACP, Act, changes that had quietly rolled out in early 2026, any airline-initiated delay exceeding 4 hours for a domestic flight legally entitled passengers to a full cash refund. Let me repeat that. A full cash refund, regardless of the initial fare class. Yes, even that dreaded Economy Basic status. Daniel, while technically correct about the non-refundable nature of her fare class under normal circumstances, failed to mention, or perhaps was simply not empowered to offer, the full picture. Laura's 5-hour delay wasn't just an inconvenience. It was the trigger for a specific legal entitlement. What Daniel could offer, and what Laura ultimately accepted out of sheer helplessness, was a flight change with a hefty $150 rebooking fee, or a travel voucher with an expiration date that felt like another form of financial coercion. She walked away from that counter, having paid the rebooking fee, missing her crucial meeting, and losing a significant portion of her original ticket value. Her mistake wasn't just clicking accept on a non-refundable ticket months earlier. It was failing to understand the legal nuances embedded within the FACP Act and, crucially, Horizon Air's own internal significant delay compensation policy, which was directly activated by that 5-hour threshold. This isn't about blaming Daniel or even Horizon Air directly. It's about recognizing that the system, designed as it is, operates within a complex web of regulatory frameworks. And ignorance of these protections, of these specific legally mandated triggers, can lead to severe financial penalties for you, the traveler. The rules are there, printed in countless federal registries and buried deep within airline terms and conditions. But who reads them? The truth is, knowing these rules is your most potent weapon. Had Laura understood her rights, she could have firmly, yet politely, cited the FACP Act's mandate for a full cash refund for delays exceeding 4 hours. She could have pointed to Horizon Air's own policy, often found in their online contract of carriage or on their customer service pages. This isn't about being aggressive. It's about being informed. Here's a quick checklist, a few crucial steps you must take to avoid Laura's bitter lesson. 1. Know the FACP Act. Understand that for U.S. domestic flights, an airline-initiated delay of 4 hours or more often triggers a right to a full cash refund, even on non-refundable tickets. For international flights, this threshold is usually 6 hours. 2. Check your airline's policy. Every airline has a contract of carriage or conditions of travel document. Before you fly, especially with a non-refundable ticket, specifically look for their policy on significant delays or schedule changes. This is where you'll find their internal rules that align with, or sometimes even exceed, federal requirements. 3. Document everything. Keep screenshots of delay notifications, note the exact times, and save any communication from the airline. If you speak to an agent, get their name and employee identification. This documentation is your proof. 4. Be specific in your request. Don't just demand a refund. State clearly that you are requesting a full cash refund under the Federal Airline Consumer Protections Act for an airline-initiated delay exceeding the 4-hour threshold, and refer to their own published significant delay compensation policy. 5. Escalate if necessary. If the frontline agent denies your valid request, politely ask to speak with a supervisor. If still unresolved, submit a formal complaint through the airline's official channels, and consider filing a complaint with the Department of Transportation's Office of Aviation Consumer Protection. The system is designed to reward those who understand its intricacies. It is not about inherent unfairness, but about leveraging knowledge. Why allow yourself to be financially penalized when the tools to protect yourself are already in your grasp? Take the time, do the research. The power to transform a potential loss into a fully compensated disruption rests entirely in your preparation.